Hey folks, Richard Evans, Paradise Tour Guy here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and Bally's is changing over to becoming the Horseshoe. What's that doing to everything staying here? I'm going to stay at one of the rooms here and check it out. Let's see how it goes. So yes, June of 2022, and the World Series of Poker has finally come to the Las Vegas Strip. Originally, World Series of Poker was at Binion's Horseshoe downtown, then it went to the Rio off-strip, and now it's been transferred here to be hosted by both Paris and Bally's, and that is causing a whole bunch of little ruckus right now because they are doing the changeover from Bally's to the Horseshoe, as well as hosting the World Series of Poker at the same time. For those of you who aren't really familiar with the layout of where everything is, Bally's is on the Central Strip, just off Flamingo Boulevard and Las Vegas Boulevard, right across the way from the Cromwell and the Bellagio, right next to Paris. And so it's very convenient for all these different things. Now, originally, Bally's was built in the 1970s, and it was the original MGM Grand. Now, the MGM Grand was very popular with a lot, but it kind of went way over budget when it was being built, and so it was never really a profitable hotel in its early days. And then in 1978, it had the terrible MGM Grand Fire, which had lots of terrible things. It was a terrible tragedy. 85 people died, many people got wounded, and because of that, MGM Grand rebuilt it, put it back in, but then they sold it to Bally's because they didn't want to be connected to something that had so many terrible things happen to it. Well, Bally's ended up getting purchased by Caesars and Harrah's. So Caesars now owns the Horseshoe brand as well as World Series of Poker, and so they're putting it together at Bally's. But right now we're talking about the rooms that I stayed in, and so here, oh, who's that ugly guy? Oh, get out of there. Hey, you're building up the thing. Anyway, so I really do like the rooms of Bally's. Now, they are definitely an upgrade, a couple of levels from some of the low-cost places, such as an Excalibur or a Harrah's or something like that. Not quite up to the standards of, say, a Caesars or an Aria or something, but it's a good middle thing. I find the bed very comfortable. The rooms, now this is a Premier King room. It's nice and roomy. It's got an okay desk. It's got lots of electronic outlets so that you can work. The bathroom is modern. They're not huge, but they have some nice things. Like, for instance, they have the backlighted mirrors, which I find really, really good, whether it happens to be for me shaving or my wife doing makeup or whatever. Those are nice touches. Some of the stuff is kind of basic, but the shower is kind of nice. It's got one of those broad head rainfall shower heads, which I just love to death. But yeah, it's definitely a few upgrades above just the minimum, not really expensive, and so you can get something that's a fairly good value here at one of the Bally's rooms. And again, this happens to be the Premier King room. And again, it does have some nice touches as far as these controls and being able to connect to the TV and to charge different items. And so although things are fairly basic, they're nice enough. Now, it's also fairly centrally located. Out in front is the Bazaar Shops, which have a lot of restaurants and fun little shops, things to get some fun snacks or some drinks, or just to chill out and have some fun things. Here's the Tiki Bar and Tacos right next to Wahlburgers and a lot of other things that's there. They've got a decent food court where they've got a Johnny Rockets and an Asian restaurant and Sbarro Pizza and Nathan's and that. One of the nicest places I like is with Paris is the Burger Brasserie, which is kind of a sports bar sort of place. They are taking out a lot of the different things as far as the higher end restaurants. Supposedly the old steakhouse, I found this Jack Binion's steakhouse is going to be in. The poker room for Bally's is closed right now for the World Series of Poker, and it's no longer going to be the Bally's Poker Room. They announced that when it reopens after the World Series of Poker, it will be the Horseshoe Poker Room. It's got a nice enough pool. It's got one of the deepest pools on the strip. It's got really good drink service, lots of different ones. The food is kind of limited, just some salads and some sandwiches. Entertainment is pretty interesting as far as it's got a comedy called Potted Potter. It's got a floor show extravaganza, which is a little bit more of an adult sort of a thing. A lot of little fun little comedy magics and Mentalist. None of these are really A shows. These aren't Cirque du Soleil shows. These aren't top of the line shows, but a good solid combination of what I'd call B-line things. Entertaining shows, fairly decent pricing to have some fun in. They also have Real Bodies, which is a display that they also have over at the Luxor, and now they have a second version here at Bally's. So anyway, I dropped on over to the World Series of Poker, just starting off on the first couple of days. It's right where Paris and Bally's comes together, so you can definitely tell right where you come through. World Series of Poker definitely has taken over. It's actually a larger area than what used to be at the Rio, so they have a lot more tables, especially for cash games. I think that they still were bringing some of the stuff out, like this is the retail area, and I think they've only got some of their stuff out yet. If you want to get memorabilia or any sort of a swag from World Series of Poker that you buy. And again, just to give you an idea, that's where the self-parking garage for Paris and Bally's comes out, and as soon as you come out from the parking area, there's the World Series of Poker right there. So bottom line, Bally's turning into the Horseshoe is having a couple of changeovers. Like I said, some limitations on the shows, some limitations as far as the restaurants and stuff, but a lot of the things are still there. Still has a good operating pool, still has a lot of good options. It's still very centrally located. The rooms, most of them have been renovated, and they're quite comfortable and actually offer a pretty good value for the price points that you can get. Now, they're probably going to be elevated a lot over the next month or so because of the World Series of Poker, but still, there's times that I'm seeing that you can get on some days rooms for as low as about $30, which I got this one for. When you consider some of the stuff that's happened with the Rio and the Mirage, you know, they're basically going to be also redoing it, and they're missing a lot more as far as restaurants and stuff like that. And they're going to be out of commission for a while. Bally's is just going to continue to keep on running. There are going to be some changes, you know, even with the fact that the World Series of Poker here, they still have the Burger Brasserie and food courts and stuff for food. They still have a lot of interesting little B-level shows to keep you going along the way. It's still very well operating. It's not going to have a huge amount of displacement, I don't think. There's not going to be a huge amount of construction. There will be some, but not a lot. But again, the fact that it's well situated, it has lots of options all around of it. And of course, it's got the World Series of Poker that's popping around right now. It's making Bally's / the Horseshoe a fun place to go, especially this summer during June and July as everything keeps in. So come on in, have a good time, take a dip in the pool, and enjoy the World Series of Poker as it goes. And even when the World Series of Poker leaves and the Horseshoe is still here, it'll be fun. Richard Evans, Paradise Tour Guy. I'll see you next time you're in Las Vegas. Bye-bye.